Make sure you explain why that region is relevant as your target market. Help the investor understand why you're working on something at the right time and the right place. Don't just put in a hockey stick growth without actually talking through how you will achieve those growth figures. Would your grandmother actually be able to understand it? Hi Digital Chiefs, welcome back to part 2 on how to instantly improve your pitch deck. Now, if you haven't checked out part 1 where I cover topics such as how to keep the pitch deck simple, the demo walkthrough, as well as an avatar storyline, make sure you check that out. The links for that are above. Now let's dive into number 4. Make your target market targeted. For example, identify the region. This could be adjacent to your current market or comparative to your local market. Make sure you explain why that region is relevant as your target market. For example, if you are an Australian company and you want to go to the US, then you need to actually talk through why it is immediately also similar and relevant. For those of you already in a large size market such as the US, you might actually focus on the states or the local cities and then how similar cities are going to be relevant for your next stage of growth. The region is obviously only one way you can talk through your target market. There are other things such as the gender, age, profession, educational levels, sectors as well. Look at each category separately. Are any of these categories unique to your target customer? With the sector, you can also break it down to industry and sub-industries. Don't just say a large target market size. For example, this one talks about the gym spend, but the product itself is actually just focused on women. This is another example of what not to do, where there is no market size. This is a good example of what to do. Help the investor understand why you're working on something at the right time and the right place so that they can also be part of the journey. Number 5, traction. There are a number of ways you can talk through traction. For example, if you're very early, survey results might be one of them. A sign-up list, a pre-launch list. If you're a little later stage and you've got paying customers and clients, make sure you separate the ones that are paying and non-paying. You might actually call them users depending on if it's an app or a particular service. This can also be a sales pipeline. For example, prospective customers that you've started talking to, or ones that you are hoping to reach out to, or perhaps even ones that you're a little later down the sales pipeline. Obviously, later down the sales pipeline tends to show a lot more conviction and traction to your product. There's many ways you can slice the sales pipeline. Say, for example, you're selling a navigation tool. Well, could you actually break down your customers based on the size of the location in terms of square meters? Another way is by venue type, such as a sporting venue, a hospital, or a shopping center, or perhaps even a university. The point though is to show the investor that, hey, there's some serious interest from these type of customer profiles and that there are a lot of these type of customers out there. From there, you can project out the revenue for each customer, the stage they're currently at, as well as how long it would take to close the deal and have the money in the bank. For those focused on consumer products, you might actually demonstrate the number of users that have signed up for a free trial and then how many of those actually convert to a paying customer. You can also show traction with partners and pilots. With pilots, it's pretty easy. Again, focus on how long it will take to convert them to a paying customer. With partnerships where you're getting access to potential customers, talk through the size of the pool and then break it down a little bit further in terms of how many of those you think you might be able to convert. Even if you can't reveal exactly who your partnership is with, you can perhaps describe it in a little bit of detail. For example, you're partnering with Coca-Cola. You can say the top beverage company in the world or the top 3 if you need to keep things a lot more confidential. Now, this last point on traction, a lot of startup founders will probably disagree with me on. But again, I'm speaking from the investor's side. Media is not traction. It's buzz, but with investors, we don't really class it as traction. If you mention media, then talk through the results of that media. i.e. visits, users, paying customers, and revenue. This can include future revenue that you'll convert. Number 6, business model. Like traction, you want to show this with numbers. This could be a rough figure or raw figures or even a percentage. The idea is to explain how you plan to make money. As I've mentioned in the past, investors are here to make a financial return. So they're looking for key hooks and triggers where they're able to see the return on their investment. The business model is sometimes also called the revenue model. Will there be a one-off fee or will it be subscription-based or a combination of the two? How do you plan to deliver a return to the investor by growing the company through revenue, through customers, and through valuation? With a physical product, you want to talk through how much it'll cost to create the product, market it, package, and deliver. And then the actual sale price in the end, where there is a margin that you're actually taking. I'll go through the go-to-market and marketing strategy in the next part of this series. You don't have to include everything, but some basic top-line figures is really helpful. If you are talking through your growth and your revenue projections, don't just put in a hockey stick growth without actually talking through how you will achieve those growth figures. Per my previous video, you want to keep it really simple and stick to the 3-second rule. Would your grandmother actually be able to understand it? Now that's a wrap for another 3 ways to instantly improve your pitch deck. If you missed the first video, here's a link for it. If you prefer to have more one-on-one help with yours, you can book me for a coaching session at digitalchief.co. Don't miss the last video in this series where I go through the go-to-market strategy, the competitor analysis, as well as what the heck to do with that team slide. Make sure you're subscribed.